Bonjour, life sparklers, it's Claire. Welcome on the Integrally Alive podcast and thanks for listening. Here we explore stories, wisdom, and tools for shifting from resistance and stress to resilience and living the life you choose. And today is a special episode with a special guest, myself. Yes, this is going to be me and myself for shorter than usual episode. Interviews will come back soon, but I think I will do some of these from time to time as well, actually. So today on we will be talking on going with the flow, being in the moment, flowing, planning, respect, intention. Have you ever been in that space of trusting life so much that you go with the flow and are in the moment, that you can follow whatever happens and adapt to any circumstances easily and effortlessly, my God, that's not in the moment. Or is it something you aspire to, as it is so trendy these days in the self-assist spiritual sphere? Well, being in contact with the spiritual community for a while, I heard more than a few times this "I'm going with the flow" statement, usually associated with a pinch of being in the moment, living in the present, letting go of control for yourself. So most times the person was meaning some variation of "I am living so totally in the moment that I cannot know what will be the best for me tomorrow or even in 2 hours. So right now, I know I said I would meet you, but as these moments have come, I realize that this other thing, whatever it will be, is more important right now. In the now, in the present. So I am following the flow and trusting that even though maybe it doesn't seem like it makes sense, it is the way to go, like a higher purpose or whatever you want to fill in the blank here. So what did this person really communicate? Well, some variation of I have a big fear of missing out. So I am afraid of committing 100% to anything because it would mean that I say no to all the rest. And you never know what can show up between now and our eventual commitment, right? So even if I am a lovely and caring person in general, I am not really wanting to take responsibility for my actions. And I will use a kind of spiritual bypass in just calling it going with the flow. And that makes me not respecting your time and efforts. So apparently going effortlessly in the moment, when you zoom out and see the bigger picture, it can look like going in any direction that presents itself in the moment without necessarily having a clear direction. It's not only hurting others, but it's not really efficient for yourself. Can this be interesting? Actually, yes. If you are a control freak, you might want to go to the other extreme and experience that even if you don't know everything that is going to happen, there will be a solution and everything will be fine. And this, you can know it, but you can only trust it is true after having experienced it. Traveling, by the way, is one of the best and safest way to do that. And I mean, when you're traveling, there will always be a time when the plane, train, bus, whatever, isn't on time. Or like me in Istanbul, boarding a bus, going to the airport, that leaves you 1 hour later, nowhere near the airport. And then there will be your own equivalent of this old man showing up out of nowhere and miraculously understanding one English word, airport, walking you to there out of pure kindness and refusing any kind of reward. So there is one caveat though. if you choose to deliberately experience this kind of wandering, you should make it clear that you are not committing to anything, so that you can have the full experience and still respecting others and actually feel good about yourself, because you're still aligned, you're staying aligned with your caring and loving self. And one image comes to mind is one of that was giving Lao Tzu, of an image of us being in the river of life and moved by the current. And he was using this to show resistance and trying to control things as trying to go against the current. So it's possible. You can always swim against the current, but it's really tiring and not as effective. In the country, when we allow ourselves to go with the flow, life is much easier and we can spend our energy on things that are actually important. And of course, the image is brilliant. I mean, come on, guys, this is Lao Tzu. So what can you expect? But I would add that you can go with the flow in two main different modes, though. The first one would be letting yourself float in the water, pushed wherever the current goes, in a constant adaptation to what shows up and making the best out of everything as it comes. The second one, swimming, steering your way with the intention of going where you want, using the current to get you there with the least effort, while recognizing when and where you have to change route, because hey, there comes an obstacle you couldn't see before and the current suddenly changes. So I would name the first one the chaotic flow. And here comes another image from Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche this time. I hope I'm saying his name right, but I'm not sure. When you are in constant adaptation, always on the lookout for what is coming next, it is like a phone with the GPS mode on. You know, it's always looking for its location, so sending and receiving information. It is using a lot of energy and the battery doesn't last very long. And this position of something better might come my way also doesn't feel very satisfying. And now I want to tell you about a study where students were getting rewarded with a frame. Both groups would choose their frames, but group B could change it afterwards. So they were making the decision, but afterwards they had, I think it was 3 weeks, to come back and change it for another one. Group A will choose the frame and stay with it, no matter what. The research was towards the level of satisfaction that they were getting out of these frames. Turns out, Group A reported being very fond of their frame and liking it very much. The tendency in Group B, the second group, was a lot more about having doubt of making the right choices and then regrets. And in the end, the level of satisfaction they were having was much less. They were not satisfied with their frames. And the only difference, remember, both groups could choose. The only difference was Group B could change their mind afterwards. A would have to make one definitive choice. So staying in a mindset of comparing what I have to what I could have, well, this is a recipe for fear of missing out and not enjoying what I have. So what about the second go with the flow mode? Could we call it intentional flow? Setting a direction, an intention, lays some stability, allowing to rest into this certainty while staying flexible enough to adapt to changes, so that we can steer our way towards where we want to go and let the route be shaped on the go. So are you going with the flow? And what kind of flow are you following? Are you going with? Are you immersed in a chaotic flow? Or are you swimming your way through an intentional flow? Let me know in a comment. Okay, and that is the end of this special episode. Thank you for listening. As usual, if you like what you hear, check the website integrallyalive.com for the blog post and leave a comment letting me know what flow you're in. What is your experience with that? Subscribe to the podcast and rate it on iTunes. You will help more people get access to this information. One last thing, if you like this format, let me know. And if you have an idea of, or a question you want me to answer to, let me know either on the Facebook page or on the comment somewhere. Let me know, and I might just pop in and make a podcast out of it. So thank you very much. Till next time. And until then, keep sparkling life and going from alive-ish to alive. Bye-bye.